What is going on, guys? We have been in the new Aegean Sea Theater of Conquest event for roughly 3.5, coming up on 4 days later this afternoon, at least at the time of filming. It's given me a few days to get my feet wet, so to speak, and see how the map flows, see how things are kind of opening up, and it's an interesting map, and I've got a lot of good things to say about it. And I want to give you guys not only my thoughts and opinions on the Aegean Sea map, but also some helpful tips as you prepare to start your Aegean Sea Theater of Conquest event. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back. I hope everyone is doing wonderful. I am really excited to get in and talk about the new Aegean Sea Theater of Conquest event. A lot of you have not yet participated in this Theater of Conquest event map yet, but you will very soon. So I wanted to get this video out and again give you my thoughts, my opinions, and also some things to kind of keep in mind that may help. And also, some of you may have kind of seen already on screen. I haven't made a formal announcement yet. I've kind of kept it close to the chest, but I have migrated servers. I have joined the server 40 team, and it has been awesome. It's been a lot of fun. They welcomed me with open arms. They are insanely active. It's been a while since I've been at the epic level. So coming back into Epic after spending, gosh, I don't know, the last 6-8 months or so in Gold has definitely been an adjustment again, but in a very good way. Things have been going really well. These guys, like I said, are really active. So it's been a blast to say the least. But with that being said, that's not what this video is about. We're going to jump in, start talking about Aegean Sea, but before we do, if you guys enjoy this video and get any value out of this video, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future uploads. All right, now let's go ahead and start talking about Aegean Sea. All right, so the first thing I want to start with here are how the teams are divided. In all other previous Conquest events up to this point, Cairo is, you could maybe make an exception for that because you are in a coalition with another alliance, but this is a true, I mean, you can still pick your teams to a certain degree, but you're kind of restricted. So out of the 8 teams, the top 4 teams, only 2 of the top 4 can be on the same team, or in the same faction, I should say, and then the 2 of the bottom 4 have to be in each of the factions. So you're going to have 2 factions, both factions having 4 teams. Now, if for whatever reason there is a team that just can't align with the faction that they are kind of, supposed to be assigned to, or that they're supposed to be joining for whatever reason, if the time to pick your factions expires and a team is still left without a faction, then the system will come in to play and they will auto-assign. So there's no way you can ride this solo. You are going to be forced to be part of a faction, whether you like it or not. And I do like their attempt at balancing it, so to speak, in terms of the top, out of the top 4, only 2 of those teams can be on each faction. You can't load up the top 4 in one faction. So they're trying to balance it as best they can. Now, obviously, as we all know, the total power or overall power of an alliance is not always indicative of how active or good that alliance actually is, but at least it's a decent enough way for them to try to balance it, as fairly as possible. So overall, I am a big fan of this faction dynamic. Now, another super awesome thing that I really like about Aegean Sea is the fact that they have removed repute. Repute is not a thing, at least not as of right now in Aegean Sea. It is now contribution rewards. So you're gonna pay, it's essentially rewarding you for how active you are, and it's gonna give, hopefully, all of the alliances and players a little bit of a better perspective on who's actually active, who's participating. And we're going to jump in and I'm going to show you guys real quick exactly how the contribution rankings stack up. So to actually be able to see where you rank within your contribution, and side note, the contribution rankings are for your faction, not just for your alliance. So it shows where you are going or where you rank between all 4 of the teams in your faction. So it really goes to show who's pulling their weight and who is not. And there's also overall alliance contribution rankings too. So I'll show you both of those. So what you want to do to see that is come down to the bottom right of your screen. And it should be pretty close to the same on like mobile or whatever. Obviously, I'm on PC, but it should be at the bottom of your screen on mobile too. You're going to click Conquest Rankings, and you guys can see the first thing that you're going to have come up is the Commander Contribution rank, and this is going to show each individual, player within your whole faction, meaning all 4 alliances, what their commander contribution is and where they rank in the list for all of the players within your faction. So again, this is the replacement to the traditional repute that we are all used to having. They have done away, at least as of now, with repute entirely in Aegean Sea, and it's strictly based on your contribution, which I think is how it should be. You should be rewarded for the effort you put in when it comes to fighting, not strictly just on how much repute from bunkers and ravens and resources that you can farm. Now, underneath Commander Contribution, you're going to see Alliance Contribution rank. So this is going to show how active and how much each of the alliances within your faction, how much they are each participating. So you can see in Server 40, we are in first place. We're quite a bit ahead of the other 3. That's not... like meant as an insult or anything. I mean, it's just, we just are. We've just happened to have more action on our side of the map, and that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. That's good for us. But you guys can see that Server 34 is definitely pulling their weight too. KJK and AE44 are both doing really, really well, each respectively too. So very, very happy with the 4 teams we've got. They're all working hard. They're all doing a really, really good job. So we've been really, honestly... put in a good spot with the teams we've got on our faction. Things are going well. Everybody's helping everybody. Everybody's pulling weight. And obviously, it depends on member count too, right? So, less members, you're going to have a harder time building up a higher alliance contribution rank. But again, I'm kind of going off on a tangent here. It's just kind of nice to see, okay, who's pulling their weight and who is not. In our case, luckily, all 4 of the teams are pulling their weight. But if there is a team, in your faction or at any point in time in the future that's not pulling your weight or not pulling their weight, you'll absolutely be able to see it. So that's I would really like to see this commander contribution and the alliance contribution rankings stay around, and I'd like to see them implemented in honestly all Theater of Conquest events. I think this is a much more fair way to reward players based on their effort and time. But we'll see. All right, now the next thing I want to talk about is combat zones. So the map is a little bit different, and we're going to talk about the combat zones specifically. We're also going to talk about how to, move from point to point on all of these different combat zones, and then also how prevalent, at least so far, has the Navy been in Aegean Sea. All right, so here is the center of the map. Now, you guys can see the whole center of the map here is on land, but when we branch out, you guys can see there are 4 sections that are all in the water. And then on the outermost ring, it is a split between land and sea. Now, just like other Theater of Conquest events, on Aegean Sea, you are still going to have a safe zone. Half of it is going to be on land, half is going to be in the sea. But nonetheless, it is still, the safe zone is still there. It is still in place just like before. But there's also the ability to work around your safe zone. So the safe zone isn't blocking access behind, and you can see that we've actually used this to our benefit. One of our faction members here, AE44, is control of this safe zone. So, we were able to build around pretty much unobstructed and get over into the land where Server 21 and this F2P team currently occupies, and I guess Server 13 as well. But this is where, things are kind of at right now, but the combat zones are actually really good. I'm going to be honest with you guys, and you know that I'm a big fan of Moscow. I think Moscow is the best Theater of Conquest map ever. Part of that is just a little bit of nostalgia. Rome did a decent job, but I really, and I'm being very genuine when I say this, guys, I really, really so far like this Aegean Sea Theater of Conquest map. It's been high action for everybody. It's been constant all over the map for everybody. It makes it very strategic. And each one of these combat zones, so this whole big area here is a combat zone. This whole big area here is a combat zone. Big old combat zone, and then big old combat zone. Now, when it comes to your combat zones, right, you have got your standard airlifts, and then you've also got what they call airlift permits. So now I want to talk just briefly about how these airlift permits actually work. So these are going to be separate from your standard airlifts. You're still going to have your standard airlifts, and they're going to operate just the same. But these airlift permits work a little bit different. So here's how the airlift permits are actually going to work. So you can see our safe zone here. This is our kind of starting combat zone, all right? If we wanted to, when the event first starts, if we wanted to come over into this combat zone, or this combat zone, or this combat zone, it doesn't matter which one. Any combat zone that is not your own, you have to use one of those special airlift permits. You get 2 to start, and they regenerate. I think you get one new airlift permit per 12 hours, so essentially you can recover 2 per day. So it's going to limit how much you can jump, which is also good because it incentivizes people on other parts of the map. If there's high action somewhere on the map, then a team on the other side can start building, and it's just, like I said, it's really, really been a good experience so far because everybody's high action, everybody's moving and grooving all over the map. It's been a blast. However, there is, I don't know if this is a bug. I don't know if it's going to continue to stay around, if they're going to fix it or what, but there is a way to kind of circumvent that airlift permit situation because anywhere you jump outside of your starting original combat zone, even if you have land there, I can jump to this land, but even if you have land there, you're going to a different combat zone, so you have to use one of those special airlift permits, except for if you use this loophole, if you will. Again, I don't know if it's a bug. I don't know if it's intended to be like that or what, but here's what I mean. So you guys can see we have a jump here tag, and this is a little body of water, and the reason we have that is because if I wanted to jump from our combat zone, let's say my base was right here in the safe zone and I wanted to jump into this combat zone, or let's say I wanted to jump all the way over here without using a special airlift permit, then here is how I would do it. All you have to do is go into the water, have your base turn into a boat, and then all you have to do from there once you're in the water is jump to another location that is occupied by either your team or one of your faction member alliances teams, and you can land in their water-occupied village, and then you can truck back onto land and go from there. So let's say we wanted to get over here. As you can see, we really don't have any land over here at this moment, but let's say something broke out. We needed to get over here in a hurry. All we would have to do is just jump or get into the water. We would jump over here to KJK's territory, and then we can truck in on land here. Same thing. That's why we have this jump here, so that way all of our guys, regardless of where they're at on the map, they can just go into the water. They can jump over here and land into this water, and we're able to move all over the map without actually having to use one of those special airlift permits. So it makes it nice for sure. I'm not sure if that's how it was intended. I'm not sure if that's how it will remain, but at least as of the moment, that is how the special airlifts work. If you want to go from a different combat zone to a different combat zone, so let's say I wanted to go over here from here all the way over here without having to take the time to get into the water first, I can. I certainly can. That's no issue whatsoever. I just have to use one of the special airlift permits to do it. So with that all being said, that is the new kind of mechanics behind Aegean Sea. To wrap it up, though, I really have enjoyed this Aegean Sea map. Now, the one thing I will say, and this is obviously just from my first experience on Aegean Sea so far, and I'm sure this is going to, didn't mean to do that. I'm sure this is going to be subject to change as more and more players start to develop their Navy, but I was very surprised, to be honest, at how little the Navy feature is being used. A lot of players are not really fighting in the water, in the sea. It has happened for sure, but most players are sticking to land. So I don't know what that looks like for you. I don't know if that sways you in terms of your development. And again, this very well may change. A lot of players may be staying away from it simply because they don't have much of a developed Navy yet. Over time, they may get more and more interested or heavily invested into Navy combat. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see for that. But at least as of my first experience here in the Legendary Battlefield, there has not been nearly as much naval warfare taking place as I originally thought there might have been. Everybody seems to be pretty close to staying on land and just doing your more traditional land battles. Again, there has been some Navy fights, just nothing that's been like, wow, that's awesome. So just keep that in mind. That's going to pretty much wrap us up for the video. If you have any questions, comments, if you are participating in Aegean Sea, maybe in the gold or silver battleground, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comments. Let me know, are you guys seeing a lot of Navy fighting going on, or is your situation in your battlefield pretty similar to ours and you're not seeing a whole lot of Navy action at the moment? If you have stuck around and made it this far into the video, if you've got access to Discord and are not already in our community Discord server, the link to that is going to be in the description of the video. Click on that link. It'll take you right into the community Discord server. Whether you are a new player and have some questions, want to learn, if you are a veteran player and just want to come hang out, get to know more people in the community, or shoot the shit with or about Aegean Sea, doesn't matter. Absolutely everybody is welcome. As always, thanks for taking the time to watch the video today, and we'll see you on the next one.